Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. In this video, we are going to be trying to predict the Springboks starting lineup and reserves for their upcoming match up against the Wallabies. It is myself, it is Rugbyitch. We have done this throughout the All Blacks versus Springboks, and now we do see the Boks side making their way to Australia. First of all, mate, how have you been? I see the kits in the background. Who you think's taking out this game? You think the Boks have got it in them?
Yeah, no, all doing well here. Of course, with the kits here, it's going to be a very interesting test to see who comes up on top, of course. I mean, both sides have come back from a loss with the Wallabies really suffering from that big loss against Argentina. And, of course, the Springboks coming back from a loss as well against the All Blacks. So both teams really need to win here. So it'll be interesting to see who gets on top.
Alrighty, so we will jump straight into it. Springboks front row, who have you got in your starting Bok pack?
Yes, so for number one, I have gone with the likes of Trevor Indian Kanye, so he does come back into the side. Of course, he did start for the first test, but he wasn't in the second. So I have brought him back to start this first test against the Wallabies. But yeah, for my number two, I have gone with Malcolm Marx to actually start for this one. So I am going for him to start, and I think a lot of people will be happy with that. And of course, for number three, I have gone with Frans Malherbe to finish it off.
Fair enough. So Trevor Nakanya, he also gets my number one spot. So no Oxnashare in my starting lineup, and also no Stephen Kitsoff there. Number two, I agree with you. I've gone Malcolm Marx. I think the thing is, Joseph Dweba, yes, he didn't have the best game up against the All Blacks, but he is one of two hookers that the South Africans have got for this game. And I think he'll be more dangerous coming off the bench, having a bit more of an impact, because the thing is, he's built solid, Joseph Dweba. He can run the ball hard. And as long as Malcolm Marx lays that foundation of getting a few turnovers, putting the Wallabies under pressure in the breakdown, I think Joseph Dweba will have a little bit less pressure on him because he was thrown into the starting lineup, and I think everyone expected him to do what Malcolm Marx did the week before. So I think the pressure may have just got to him, getting himself about his third Springbok cap as well. So still very young and experienced, but yeah, I did put Malcolm Marx at number two, and then recently bringing up his 50 caps, it is a Frans Malherbe as my number three. Now, looking through at the locks, I've gone unchanged from what we saw between the Springboks and the All Blacks. I felt like there was no need to change something that's working. So number four, Ebenezer, he's always working that, man. He is an extremely hard worker. And then Lou Diaga at number five as a man who's very dangerous in a line-out. And with so many injuries for the Wallabies, it does mean that maybe their line-out may not be as smooth running as it normally would be, which is where the Diaga is just going to be all over it.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I mean, I actually have made one change in this area, but only because, what we saw against, the All Blacks over the last 2 weeks, when they stole a lot of their lineouts, actually, to be perfectly honest, particularly in that second half. And it kind of, I was like, wow, that's actually something they have to work on. And then they may, like you said, they might just go the same too. Maybe they've improved from that lesson. But I have actually made a switch. And I have stuck with Ebenezer Smith at number four. I mean, you have to. He's one of the best locks in the world. But, yeah, for number five, actually, I have gone with Franco Mostert to start number five. He has been coming off the bench recently, but I feel this is a good opportunity for him to kind of prove his worth in that starting spot. And, yeah, we'll go and see if he can, work those hands of his and just steal a lot of those lineouts.
Also brings that opportunity of maybe moving to loose forward.
Exactly.
Any sort of injury
in
that matchup as well. But now we move on to the loose forward trio. Who have you got as your number six, your number seven, and your number eight? Have we got a skipper in there somewhere?
We do. We do have Khaleesi at number six, of course, and will captain the side as I would expect. Peter Sepultori, I have selected at number seven, but I have made a switch here from Vermeulen, who did start against the All Blacks. I have gone with Jasper Wessey to start at number eight. I believe he did start against the All Blacks in the first test, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where he started. So, yeah, I have kind of reverted back towards within this first against the Wallabies.
Okay, so I think you must be reading off my sheet. Maybe I shared it with you. But Khaleesi, number six. Once again, Peter Sepultori, I don't think you can take that man out of the number seven jersey at this point in time. The All Blacks, they were doing well in that second test, though, to try and stop him from getting those turnovers and cause really impressive breakdown. But I think up against the Wallabies, he should be back to his brilliant ways. And then number eight, I did go Jasper Wessey. He did get to come off the bench after only about 30 minutes with Duane Vermeulen only recently returning from his injury. It seemed like a big risk having Vermeulen start in that match just because we hadn't seen him in action for a good few months. and just recovering from that knee surgery.
Personally, I felt it was actually kind of a good time to do it, just because, against, you want to kind of throw him in against the best. There's no really better time to do it, I think, against the All Blacks. And I feel like, he has a ton of experience under his belt anyway. So I feel like it was kind of a good run for him. But at the same time, you're totally correct that maybe in terms of his match fitness, it wasn't, he wasn't up kind of up for it. So it's understandable why he was taken off at 30 from the 30-minute mark. So hopefully he improves on his match fitness as the weeks go by.
Right, so now we move on to our halfback and our fly half. Now, we were chatting beforehand. They've got plenty of options at number 9. They've got 4 halfbacks that they can go with, which is interesting because a lot of people said, why didn't they get rid of 1 halfback and add another hooker just as a bit of injury cover if they were only taking a certain number? But who have you got? Number 9, number 10. We got a nice combo going.
I do have a nice combo, indeed. Probably the first choice combo, I'd say, for most Springbok fans. I have gone with Flapper Kirk at number 9, and I have gone with the likes of Andre Pollard at number 10. Flapper Kirk, to be perfectly honest, guys, I actually didn't want to select him for this game. That's really only because, I feel like you kind of want to switch your team as it goes when you play a different opposition. But, of course, with Flap's injury, he didn't really get to play against the All Blacks at all. I mean, he only got, 1 minute against them within both tests, so it's really going to be it's understandable why I have to go for him, because he needs that kind of game time, and I think the Wallabies will definitely be a good experience for him.
So I've actually got the exact same as yourself. I've put Faf de Klerk back in the starting lineup. Like you mentioned, we've seen 1 minute of him in the Rugby Championship. His tackling technique in that 1 minute, questionable, but before that he did actually make a low tackle. He ran forward, was able to get one. It's just the second was the one that he probably has forgotten. But looking through at number 10, Andre Pollard seems like the best option, really. He's kicking at 100% throughout the Rugby Championship. He's got to be in there in that starting lineup. And I think 99 out of 100 people would put Pollard ahead of Elton Yankees based on what we have seen in the last little while.
Yes.
Are you the one? Are you the one? Are you the one?
Not at all.
The comments destroyed you last time when you had him off the bench.
Pollard is my favorite 10 in the world. Like he's just so consistent with his kicking. That's what I love about him. Like I may be wrong in this, by the way, guys, in terms of the percentages, but he's definitely up there in terms of the highest percentage in terms of his kicking stats. I would believe. So he's good. He's good.
He's good.
We're looking
now we move on to the centres. Do we need to go through our centres? Have they changed it all from the All Blacks tour? Because for me, they have not. It is Damien at number 12 and Lukhanyo at number 13. Yeah. How can you replace this combination? I feel bad for Andre Esterhuizen, because he's a good player, but how do you get in there without some sort of massive injury being involved?
Yeah, you really just can't do much. And to be honest, Esterhuizen actually had a great season in the Premiership with the Harlequins, but it's just one of those where with this combination, it's just too good to be true, really. For Esterhuizen to actually get into that, with Damien Delende as well as the Lukhanyo and what Am's doing, it's sensational. I don't have to talk more about him because I keep talking about him within my channel. So you can go to my channel if you want to see me talk about him more. But no, he's brilliant. So you really just can't change that combination. So it's understandable why we've both agreed in that selection.
Imagine if they take Lukhanyo out of 13. Who would you actually go with at 13 other than Lukhanyo and other than Esterhuizen? Would you look at maybe a Jesse Creel, Franz Steyn? Would you go with someone along those lines, try and squeeze them in? Of course, that is only if Lukhanyo was completely unavailable and just had no way of making it to the field. Because if that man turns up, normally has a pretty solid game.
Yeah, exactly. No, to be perfectly honest, I would probably put Franz Steyn in there just due to his experience, but also his kicking ability as well, because I kind of like Franz Steyn because he's kind of like what the All Blacks used to do in terms of like David Avili, like where you have that extra kicking option in terms of the center spot. So that's why I would like Franz Steyn in that position. But of course, I can never put him in if Lukhanyo is available. But
Now we move on to the back three. We could see a couple changes from yourself, maybe, or just the one.
Yeah, I wanted to make two, to be perfectly honest here, because I actually felt that I wanted to give Williamson a rest. I'd say at number 15. But I can't do it because he was just too good, I'd say, within both tests, and he's really stepped up. He's really stepped up his game, and I said it within my channel, but he's definitely in the conversation, I believe, for most improved player of the year. I think he's definitely in that category. If I had to put him for an award, maybe for this year or later down. But yeah, for the 11 jersey, I have to go with Mapimpi. That's an easy option. There's no one taking a spot there. But of course, for the number 14 jersey, this is the tough decision because we do have obviously Kobe is out and Kurt Lorenza is suspended, I believe, for 3 more weeks, if I'm not mistaken, or is it 2 now? It's a bit confusing with his.
I don't know how it works because
I think
some of them are match bans and some of them are week bans, aren't they?
I'm not too sure on that. You guys let me know in the comments what that is actually, because we're a bit unsure about that one. But yeah, for this selection though, I have gone with the likes of Katie Moody, so I have given him a debut to start against the Wallabies, which is look. I hope it happens because I've seen a lot of him within the URC, obviously with the Bulls, and he was fantastic. I mean, he's just one of those players who it's like the Springboks can just generate a player who's the exact kind of 14 they need. Someone who's just quick, someone who can offload the ball easily when they just go straight into a tackle, and someone who's
got hit gear.
Exactly, and someone who can just sidestep easily in the easily. So it's like you have Kobe, Lorenza, and it's just ridiculous that kind of the depth in that position. So yeah, hopefully they go with Moody because I would love to see how he does actually against the Wallabies.
Okay, so I actually do have a change compared to yourself. So number 11, I have stuck with Makazole Mapimpi. That man, same with Lukanu, both having over 100 meters up against the All Blacks in their last game. They had to be somewhere. And it was a bit of a shame when we saw that one of Makazole Mapimpi disallowed for that try because that was an absolutely brilliant one. Interestingly enough, we actually both took out the man who was penalised, Jaden Hendrickson, from our lineups.
Yep.
For this week, interestingly enough. Then number 14, I've gone Warwick Hallant. I have given him the opportunity on that right wing side. I know that he probably prefers playing fullback, but I've given him the right wing spot. Plays very well for the Stormers. I would have gone Jesse Creel, but it's still a little bit of a question mark whether or not he's going to be 100%.
The head injury, yeah.
So, yeah, I decided to give Warwick Hallant a little bit of a go for the Springboks. And then number 15, I have stuck with him, another Stormers player, and that is Damian Valimza. So now we move on to the benches. Number 16, 17, and 18. I can probably predict who you've got at number 16. In fact, I could probably predict who you've got in the whole front row. We got the bomb squad getting started.
Maybe not. I might have made a switch there. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, like you said, I have gone with Joseph Dweba. That's an obvious, really, from that position for the number 16 spots. For number 17, you are correct. I have gone with Stephen Kitchkoff. That's probably the obvious one. There's like the 2 obvious ones. But to be honest, in this one, I had a selection because I believe there's 2 players. I could have gone with number 18 spot to come off the bench. But I have actually gone with Oxton Shea to come off the bench.
Really?
Yeah. So
that is a big one.
It's one of those where because I believe you can play both sides. So it's one of those where it's a big call, but I don't know. I felt it was maybe kind of a good time to maybe introduce him back into the side. So I've gone with him in that position.
Okay, so no Vincent Koch.
No, I wanted to switch there, kind of switch something up, but we never know. We'll have to wait and see if that turns out to be right.
Okay, so for myself, to no surprise, I've got Joseph Weaver, number 16. I guess no surprise as well, I've got Stephen Kitsoff as my 17. Number 18, I did put Vincent Koch in there.
Oh, you're ruining it. You're ruining it right there.
Decided it would be a good option. He hasn't been in bad form, so
he has
have him in there as well. But now we move on to our next few positions. Now, for myself, I decided I would go extremely bold for this one, and due to the amount of back injuries that we have had, not literal backs, but as in the backs
literal back injuries,
but the fellas were in 9 to 15. So I have actually gone with a 5-3 split here. Bit risky.
Wow. Okay.
Very risky, in fact. But I've gone with that because if they do end up with an early back injury, that could be something that really fatigues them in Australia. Thought, why not throw it in there? See whether or not it works. So number 19, I have gone Franco Mostert, and then number 20, I've gone Kwaka Smith. So I haven't got Dwayne Vermeulen in my side.
Big call, big call. So yeah, obviously for my one, I have gone with likes of Lord Diego coming off the bench for this one because I did obviously go with Franco Mostert at the start for the game. Same as you, I have gone with likes of Kwaka Smith at the next spot and to finish off Dwayne Vermeulen. So I feel like it's good to have Dwayne Vermeulen off the bench. 'Cause at least he can impact the game within the second half, or maybe come in the 30th minute if that's what Yankees does again. But we'll have to wait and see what's the game plan. But yeah, that's what I'm going with for the forwards off the bench.
Okay, so now we move on to the back replacements. You will have one less than myself.
Indeed.
So I assume you've got a halfback, and then maybe someone who you've dabbled a little bit with
I've
starting.
dabbled a bit in this position, but
off
yeah.
the bench.
But like you said, yes, I do have a number 9. I have gone with the likes of Herschel Yankees to come off the bench. So I'm actually giving a rest towards Jenny Hendricks, which is it's all to say that because he's actually played very well in both tests against the All Blacks, and he really stepped up his, he took off, that was a big weight off his shoulders, I believe, just because he had a lot of pressure on him in terms of like he was able to kind of step up against the All Blacks of all teams. So yeah, credit to him. But yeah, I just feel like maybe it's a good opportunity to kind of give other players in that position a bit more playing time. But of course, for my last one, I have gone with the likes of Willie LaRue to finish off the squad, as he again he can cover the 15th spot as well as 14 if needed. So yeah, that's what I've gone with.
Okay, so I actually have a couple changes to yourself.
Okay.
Only because, of course, one of my guys is a forward. But number 21, I went Cobus Reinach.
Interesting.
I like the fact that he's close to coming back. He's got a great running game, which I feel like will well and truly benefit him. Definitely if they go with Tate McDermott off the bench for the Wallabies, I feel like those two going head to head.
They play exactly the same. I was about to say that. That could be I'd love that. I would love to see those two go head to head. Now you got me thinking about that. That'd be good.
And also that last minute kick from Herschel Yankees. Of course, one play doesn't decide a game, but I just see his late kicking sometimes, and I think, why? You're 40 meters out from the line, and you go for the box kick, give away the position, and then don't get the ball for the next couple minutes. It seems like a really risky tactic. Cobus Reinach, though, I think we'll see a little bit more of that running game. Like I mentioned, number 22, I've gone with Frans Steyn. Decided to have a backup kicking option, and if you're 50-plus meters out, more than likely Australia will have Reece Hodge. So you do need someone who's going to be able to have a little bit of extra distance, as we have seen in the past for the Wallabies and the Springboks. 3 points could be the difference between them, just like the first game of the Rugby Championship in 2021. Then my last man, same as yourself, I have got Willie LaRue as my closing of my team. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not it's a 6-2 split, whether it's a 5-3 split, whether or not they do decide to give a few of those older players a run in the starting lineup, or maybe they do have a lot of experience
up
against the Wallabies. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more match predictions coming up for lineups, so be sure to check those out as well. But also be sure to check out Rugbyitch. He has got himself a rugby channel over there as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and we will see you all for the next one.